In the quiet shadow of the wilderness, long after the Israelites had crossed the Jordan and settled in the Promised Land, a line of priests carried forward the sacred duties entrusted to them by God through Aaron, the first high priest. These were not kings, nor warriors, nor men of great conquest, but they bore the weight of Israel's sins on their shoulders, lifting prayers, incense, and sacrifices on behalf of a nation. Among them rose a man named Bukki, son of Abishua. Bukki's name is only briefly mentioned in the genealogies of 1 Chronicles 6 verse 5, part of the priestly lineage that traced all the way back to Aaron. But behind the simplicity of a name and a lineage lies a sacred legacy, a quiet flame passed from father to son in reverence and obedience. His father, Abishua, had served faithfully as a high priest after the days of Eleazar, Phinehas, and the chaos of the wilderness. Abishua stood between the divine and the defiled, preserving the ordinances given by Moses and maintaining the purity of temple service. Bukki was born into this solemn calling, not by ambition or election, but by birthright and divine appointment. As a boy, Bukki grew up within the sacred perimeter of the tabernacle. He was no stranger to the scent of burning incense or the chants of psalms carried on the desert wind. His days were shaped by rhythm and ritual, cleansing, offerings, prayers, and silence. The elders often whispered of the sins of Israel, of past rebellions in the desert, of Korah's revolt, and the day the earth swallowed the insolent. Bukki listened and learned, his heart quieted by the weight of remembrance. In time, Bukki came of age and took on priestly duties. He served alongside his father, watching carefully, learning the precision of sacrifice, the selection of the unblemished lamb, the splashing of blood, the offering of grain. Each movement was more than mere tradition, it was a mirror of repentance and a path to reconciliation with God. When Abishua passed away, the priestly garments were passed to Bukki. And with them, the burden of a nation's intercession. He did not inherit a throne, but a sanctuary. Not a crown, but the ephod embroidered with 12 stones, each representing the tribes of Israel. Each day, he bore those tribes on his chest as he entered the tabernacle, lifting prayers on their behalf, seeking mercy for their transgressions, and ensuring the offerings were without fault. The people of Israel were entering a new season. The tribes had found their place, the judges were rising, and the land was still learning how to breathe freedom after generations of slavery. In such a time, the role of the priest was more critical than ever. Bukki did not shout in the streets or lead armies into battle, but his prayers guarded the gates of heaven. He knew the names of his ancestors by heart. Aaron, Eleazar, Phinehas, Abishua. He remembered the zeal of Phinehas, who once turned away the wrath of God by a single act of holy anger. He recalled the solemn authority of Aaron, who stood silently as 2 of his sons, Nadab and Abihu, were struck down for offering strange fire. It was this holy lineage that Bukki now honored. At the altar, Bukki offered sacrifices not only for the sins of the people but also for his own. He knew the fragility of man and the holiness of the Lord. He did not approach the Most High casually. He washed, he fasted, he wept in secret. His priesthood was not about glory, it was about survival, about keeping the covenant alive in the hearts of a people prone to forget. Though no mighty deeds are recorded under his name, Bukki's legacy endures in the lineage he preserved. For he would become the father of Uzzi, continuing the priestly chain that would stretch through centuries, through kings and prophets, through exile and return, until one day, in the fullness of time, a new high priest would rise, not from Levi, but from the order of Melchizedek. Bukki's name may appear only once in the Chronicles, but his life was like the steady flame of the temple lamp, hidden from the eyes of the world, yet illuminating the pathway to God. Every time the people of Israel brought their guilt, their hopes, their first fruits and their sins, it was Bukki who received them on behalf of the Almighty. He bore no sword, but his intercession was a weapon against divine wrath. He wielded no crown, but he carried the presence of the Most High. He was one of the guardians of Israel's spiritual identity, a keeper of the covenant, a priest in the line of holiness. And though the world remembers heroes with swords and kings with scrolls, heaven records the faithful heart of a priest who stood between the people and their God. Bukki, son of Abishua, servant of the tabernacle, priest of the Most High, unseen yet unforgettable. His name is stitched into the fabric of the priesthood, his life a silent echo of obedience in the eternal story of redemption.